Good morning, and welcome to this special session of the Pinal County Board of Supervisors. Very exciting day, gotta say. With me up here on the dais is keeping me company is Supervisor Vitiello. Telephonically, we have Chairman Miller. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Very good, thank you. We have Supervisor Goodman.
I'm here. I'm alive.
Excellent, thank you. And we have Supervisor Surdy.
Yo.
Yo to you. Great day. Other staff attending telephonically, I believe Shirley Crone. Are you there, ma'am?
I am here, thank you.
You're there, thank you. I think that completes our massive roll call of the day. We have one item, and that is to discuss, approve, or disapprove the canvass of the election results for July 15, 2025, the special primary election. Ms. Lewis, you are up.
Chairman Miller, Vice Chair McClure, members of the board, Dana Lewis, Pinal County Recorder, here to present the findings for canvass of the special primary election for the Congressional District 7. Your presentation, please, ma'am. Oh. It's okay. Thank you, ma'am. So again, this is for the canvass of the special primary election that was held July 15th, 2025, due to the passing of Congressman Raul Grijalva. These are the items per statute and elections procedure manual that we are required to have in the official canvass documentation that are presented to the Board of Supervisors. They include the summary of results, precinct result report, statements of votes cast, provisional ballot report, the early voting and accessibility report, poll worker training report, voter education report, primary ballot choice by precinct, and the ballot audit report. We selected to take pieces of the official canvass to utilize as a voter education portion of today's presentation so people can be more attuned to be able to read the official documentation for the canvass. This is the summary results report, and as you will see on this page, our total voter turnout for Pinal County was at 13.46%. Other items to notice is the Republican Party turned out at 20.4% and the Democrat Party at 25.39%. No labels did have representation at 2.13%. The statement of votes cast, you will notice again that we had 3,685 active registrants for this election, and of them, we had total ballots cast of 496. And this is where we come up with the 13.46% for turnout for Pinal County. We always like to be presenting this information during our canvasses, going back to when we started looking at this from 2016, showing what this looks like for our canvasses and what our turnout has been. And you'll notice that every time you see a primary, there's that dip. It's normal in a primary to see a dip. A lot of people don't want to participate in party politics, so they choose to sit this election out, and you'll see the number turn up during a general election. Also, it's important to know that this was a special election. It wasn't a normally scheduled primary election, and then it also being held during summer months would normally mean that we will have lower voter turnout. Turnout by votes cast, again, showing the difference in numbers with just the 496. We were hoping to get in that 20%. We do a lot of voter education and outreach, send a lot of information out to voters to let them know that we are having a special primary election. But again, when it's a summer month and it is a special primary, sometimes those numbers are a bit lower. One of the most frequently requested graphs that we produce in the elections department is the turnout by political party. You will see here that 100% of that pie that you see, 54.2% were representative by the Republican Party, 38.3% for the Democratic Party, the no labels 0.2%, and then the P&D, other independent, was 7.3%. Breakdown for turnout within the party itself, the Dems were at 23% and Republicans at 19%. Why this is important is going to be seen in a future graph.
I'm sorry, Ms. Lewis. So can you back up one?
Okay.
So in that, I mean, that's deceiving, I think. So that's the pie is the entire party.
Correct.
Okay, and on the right is the percentage of people, but the red's bigger than the...
Right.
Because it's the entire party. Okay, the percentage of
Right,
the party.
and-
Just trying to make sure I'm reading your graph.
Absolutely.
Right.
So this is a graph on 100%. If you look at the pie chart, that shows out of 100%, where was the makeup? So of the makeup of 100%, it's 54 were Republicans. When we talk about party representation, 19% of the Republican Party showed out for this specific election. That's where those graphs turn into this information, where it's important to note that because it is a primary election and changes, we are required now to also report how many P&D, independent, or other voters selected a partisan-style ballot. So out of the 4,000 approximately voters we had that could have voted in this election, nonpartisan representation is 1,383. Of that 1,383, only 36 people decided to select a partisan-style ballot, and that is the breakdown of those 36 voters. How ballots were cast. This is also one of the things that is requested. When we talk about resources in the elections department, voter registration and early voting, and we look at budgeting and whatnot, this is where the effort goes into. So election day, we had 15% of the voters turned out on election day, if you're looking at 100%. 67% of the voters were during the early voting process, that 27 days prior to election. And then, of course, there's still the late earlies, the people who on election day decided to drop off a ballot either at the polls or at a drop box. The law still allows them to do that until 7 p.m., but it does show you that we had over more people decided to do that than actually vote at the polls, where if they decided to vote...
This call will be recorded.
Hi. So it does show then that if those people had decided to surrender that ballot, they could have voted election day. So just again, I think it's really great for transparency processes to see how people are voting in Pinal County.
And this is the vote, this is just the ballots cast, period.
Correct.
Right, okay, just so we're all on the same 100% because it keeps jumping here.
Dan,
Correct.
Just
Yes,
out
sir.
of curiosity, I've had people ask me, the late early ballots that get dropped off that day or at a box, do they get counted as provisional ballots or they get counted as...
No. So the only reason that a person does a provisional ballot is because they've moved or a name change or they're not registered to vote. They choose to arrive at the wrong precinct and then will not go to their designated precinct location to vote. Those are why we have provisional ballots in Pinal County mostly. Late earlies, it's still a late early. And as long as it's signed, then we can continue moving forward with that process. It's the ones that aren't signed that then don't get to move forward in the process. But we are tracking those numbers.
Thank you.
Oh, go back. Again, we're required to have the early ballot report, which shows we sent out 1,621 early ballots. The method of delivery, 1,619 were mailed. And the three were three people that voted in person in the Maricopa office. We had 3 Uwakava voters for this election, 3. they were all P&D. And even though we had reached out to them to ask if they would like to select a partisan-style ballot, they chose not to follow up with that. So only 3 for this election, but again, a very small election, under 4,000 people affected. The status 421 early ballots were accepted. And then we also like to break down, because there has been confusion with reports and understanding processes. Even though we say it's rejected or canceled, you need to know the reasons that a ballot can be canceled. One, somebody can show up and they got that early ballot, but they choose not to vote that early ballot, so they show up to vote either early in person or at the polls on Election Day. So that ballot will be canceled. And it's not that the voter is canceled, the ballot is canceled. So you're going to see those numbers represented up there. Also, the USPS undeliverable or temporary away. So the 4, 15, and 7, that all adds up to the 26. We track these numbers because it's part of our federal reporting to the Department of Justice with our EVES reporting. So we do a really great job of making sure we have this information and can talk through it. Of that 1,600 sent away, in the 30% temporary away and 65% of undeliverable. When people talk about voter list maintenance and cleaning the voter rolls, this is one of the things. We will now send to these people who we receive that ballot back as undeliverable, and it's going to sound like, hi, it seems you are away. Do you still reside here? If you do, will you please return this? Please contact our office. That's one of the ways that we maintain through the National Voter Registration Act. I love this report. Because it's a great big zero. So in our world, provisional ballots are one of those things that it takes a lot of time to process provisional ballots, and our voter registration team is most excellent in their diligence to ensure that every vote that should be counted is counted. And when we're doing an amazing job of voter education and outreach, ensuring that voters are going to their designated voting locations on Election Day, and that they're registered to vote, and that they've supplied their documented proof of citizenship, when we have a report like this is a win for Pinal County. Granted, it was a small election, but it's still a win.
Count them when you get them, that's it.
Absolutely, sir. Again, the provisional ballot statistics, it's going to feel a bit skewed because it is a primary election and there was a lower required for voter registration numbers, but still, we're going to count them where we get them. The ballot audit report. This is, again, an effort in transparency that we're required to supply, and we do a really great job of not only putting it here, but we'll be PRR'd for this, and it shows for each one of the precincts how many early ballots we had ordered and we'd sent to the polls, how many were actually cast, and then how many needed to come back to us. And we count those to make sure that there's no, ballots out there in the abyss anywhere, shows that we received them back. And everything is on the up and up. One of the other things to note during this election that was a little bit different than most elections is it was only 4 voting locations, so we were able to bring back everything election night, saving on resources, manpower, personnel, and curbing exhaustion, which is a great thing. The only thing that we do, again, we are looking at that for the ability to present to the board why this works in a small election and why it doesn't work in a large election. And one of the reasons is it then delays our time in tabulation and keeping the staff there a little bit longer. So we know in these smaller elections, under 10 polling locations in a certain area, we're able to do it. Anything larger than that, it's just not going to be effective for us. Again, Pinal County does an amazing job of voter education and outreach. Unfortunately, we did not have anybody reach out to request a special election board. Those are people who are confined to their home, have illness, or maybe you're in jail sitting out a ticket. We sent out flyers. Nobody called us and asked us to present a ballot to the jail or to residents. And again, we're going to continue to make sure people are aware of that wonderful resource. Social media presence, we had direct posts posts. We thank the communications team and all of the people who follow us on social media because they get that notice and they post it out into the other people who follow Pinal County, which is great. We updated 3 YouTube voter education videos. We had 5 scheduled tours of the votes facility, which were able to explain all of our processes and the different way that we process our ballots, from signature verification to early board to tabulation. And then, of course, education and outreach events. And showing you, it doesn't matter if we are specifically in the CD7 area. We have witnessed that people have friends and family across this county and state. So even if we're doing an event in Santan Valley and we're having an election in CD7, which is predominantly in Casa Grande area, that information then does translate across the county. So whenever we're invited to go out and do an event, whether it's reading books to the youth, being there to support the Board of Supervisors during their town halls, or even animal care and control, we're out there and we're in it for the county. Poll worker training. Poll worker training has evolved a lot since 2022. We've created what we call the Skinny Manual. It's very user-friendly, and you don't have to go through hundreds of pages to get through to what you need to know to be effective as a poll worker. We have 7 online class modules that they must complete prior to their in-person class. Their in-person class is 3.5 hours. We had 3 sessions at 2 different locations for this special election. 3 full-time certified election officials train this. We have 1 new election specialist go team, and then we also have a contractor who's been auditing our training to make sure that we're hitting all the high spots. Then gives us feedback so we can even improve this process more. Every one of our classes then does have a virtual touch with just the inspectors, because some of the information they need to know, not the whole team needs to have, and let them know of any nuances that are going on with the election. We had 29 poll workers, 4 Pinal County ambassadors, and no students this session, but I heard we have some coming up for the next election. Again, the breakdown by required by law and the EPM shows you how many poll workers we had and the different tech that we have out at the locations, whether they be ADA or poll pads, where they're assigned, and then the troubleshooters that are going out to the different locations. The troubleshooter and runner report, we are now doing a troubleshooter training session. We used 6 troubleshooters and 3 bipartisan teams. They covered the 4 polling locations. We're able to bring all of that equipment back election night. We also used our county employees and the elections department to be runners for this election. Again, it was a small election, condensed in space, and we were able to take new team members and make sure they really understand our processes, because there's nothing worse than getting a phone call and not even be able to talk to a poll worker about what's happening in their space. So we use this election to be able to be better at explaining things to our population. 3 box trucks that we have for the department and 3 lead trucks, making sure that we were on time, everything election night. Again, the area of Pinal County in green shows the Congressional District 7 and where those voting locations were and the teams that were used to deliver the equipment and bring it back. This doesn't ever work if it's just us. I always want to thank the Office of Emergency Management, Information Technology, Fleet, Public Works, our facilities department, the sheriff's office, county attorney's office, our communications team, and county management. Thank you for supporting this team for our past elections, even the smaller elections, and our elections going forward. Being a part of our elections preparation meetings. This election was small enough that we did a virtual command center, but was really great is we were able to take and utilize our succession plan to test resiliency. So election specialists were actually in the command center on election day, acting like an OECOE, an officer in charge of elections. They were acting as the person who was actually putting all the information in and scribing for us. Major shout out to Matthew Doyle. He used to be part of the poll worker team. Now he's part of our tech team and was in command center tracking all of the information through our poll pads on Election Day. Right now, him and Matt Roberts are holding down the fort at votes because we're also administering the Santan Valley Incorporation election. So some of the team's here and some of the team is still over there. We have resources because we plan for if something's going to go wrong. You always have to plan that something's going to go wrong so you're never caught wanting. During the election at one of our precincts, the air conditioning went out. Completely went out. We have swamp coolers, and we were able to deploy them during the heat of the day, and electrical cords. The runners went out there, set it up, and we were able to get through the next 6 hours of that election without fail. And again, that's with the preparedness and planning. Thank you so much to the OEM team because they have taught us in informed command structure, and it works, folks, it works. Also, another shout out to our threat liaison officer and the Costa Grande Police Department. There is nothing worse than having teams together and then one of them doesn't show up, especially when they were there the night before for the preparation meeting and setup. And so when somebody's so excited to be at their assigned polling location and work as a poll worker and they don't show up, this team goes into effect. And we were able to reach out to the threat liaison officer who made contact with CGPD. We were able to do a welfare check, come to find out that there was a family emergency and she had lost her phone. So while we were a little bit worried about her safety, find out she was taking care of another family member. We're never done. Payroll is being processed for the team and for the poll workers and ambassadors and the troubleshooters. On Monday, we went through post-election logic and accuracy. That just shows that we had our hand count audit. Everything turned out right. It's been presented to the Secretary of State's office, and our machines are tabulating, and we have a zero report. We'll also go into records retention. This is a federal election, and so documentation is required to be retained for 2 years. We order ballots for our polling locations because we are precinct-based. They will go into disposition. We also look at all of the equipment that was used for this election, make sure it's in good repair, and if we have to reorder provisional ballot envelopes, pens, cords, whatever it is, we go ahead and start making sure that we're ready for the next election. After today, when you certify this canvass, then we will take it to the recorder's office, and we will record it, and then we will have the team take it to the Secretary of State's office for the statewide canvass. We will also conduct an internal hot wash, update standard operating procedures for anything that we practiced during this election, make sure that it's on paper, and if we have to update anything. And then we clean up the website, because once this election is put to bed, we're moving on to the next one. I talk fast and give lots of information. Gentlemen, do you have any questions?
Are there any questions from the telephonically present board members?
None from Supervisor Miller.
Chairman Miller? None from you? Okay. Supervisor Goodman?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Supervisor Surtee?
None.
None. Ms. LaCrone, do you have any questions?
This call is no longer being recorded.
Aha.
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay,
sir.
good. And we're not recorded, so we didn't get that, but okay. No, do you have any questions?
Nope.
No, I don't have any questions. I think it's a great report, and
Thank you.
I appreciate all the work you've done.
Chairman Miller, Vice Chair McClure, it takes a village. It truly does. And between PR and comms, the amazing team of election specialists and deputy recording clerks and voter registration team that we have in Pinal County, and their ability to continue to stay engaged and always looking at how this county and our processes can be transparent, trustworthy, and that we're educating and we're looking for the next way to get better. I am amongst the best in this state. So thank you for allowing me to have them.
You bet. All right. With that, if there's no questions, make it a motion, please.
Yes, Vice Chair and Chairman Miller. I'd like to propose a approval of the canvas of the election results of July 15th, 2025, to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
That's Supervisor Surdy, it sounded like. I have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 I believe that's a bunch of ayes. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.